Amal Clooney, the smart, savvy, and stylish lawyer and, yes, wife of George Clooney.
Amal Clooney makes a surprising and stylish UN appearance. The human rights attorney has all eyes on her in NYC.
Amal Clooney, the renowned human rights lawyer and fashion icon.
Amal is a human rights lawyer who worked on the Enron case, was an advisor to Kofi Annan regarding Syria, and was selected for a three-person UN commission.
Was recently caught off guard by a camera, revealing a side of her the public rarely sees. This rare moment has made everyone curious and start a seemingly endless debate, especially since she has always been known for her grace and brilliance. But what she did next left everyone speechless. What did she do, and how did it stun millions worldwide? Join us as we reveal the unexpected event involving Amal Clooney that has everyone talking. Amal Clooney's stunning transformation caught on camera. Amal Clooney, the internationally admired human rights lawyer, is no stranger to the spotlight.
The human rights lawyer Amal Clooney has urged countries to focus on delivering justice for war crimes in Ukraine.
But she wasn't in a courtroom or gracing a red carpet this time. Paparazzi caught her in an unguarded moment while out and about. No formal poses, no grand entrance, just Amal effortlessly commanding attention with her natural charm. Amal's style has always been iconic, but these photos revealed something different. She stepped out with an entirely unexpected look that instantly left fans and fashion critics in awe.
Amal Clooney making quite a splash on the red carpet on the arm of her proud husband George at her first award show.
It felt fresh, modern, and yet still so very Amal. This wasn't just a casual appearance, but a transformation that spoke volumes about her ability to surprise and inspire. As the images circulated, the internet buzzed with excitement. Fans couldn't stop praising her new look, with social media flooded with posts celebrating her bold style choices. Headlines ran wild, calling her a trendsetter and marveling at her ability to turn even the simplest moment into a global sensation.
Amal Clooney.
Of course,
I mean, she's become a fashion icon, right? Whether she's rocking a pair of ripped-up jeans or a really elegant Met Gala gown.
While many were in awe, others were curious about what inspired this sudden shift. Amid the frenzy, Amal remained calm and composed, as always. When asked about the sudden spotlight on her candid photos, her response was as graceful as ever. She brushed it off, emphasizing that she was just being herself. For Amal, it wasn't about making a statement, but about authenticity. Her quiet confidence reminded everyone why she's not just a style icon, but also a role model for staying true to oneself. Of course, fashion experts couldn't resist weighing in. Designers and critics analyzed every detail of her outfit, from the fabrics to the accessories. Many applauded her daring choice to mix high-end pieces with understated elements.
She's so beautiful, so graceful, so sophisticated, and so refined. And I think that totally goes in line and is reflected on her style.
Proving that even off-duty looks can be inspiring. Her hairstyle and makeup also became discussion topics, with some calling it a nod to modern minimalism. It was clear Amal had once again redefined elegance, even without trying. But what if we told you that it isn't just her transformation that was caught unexpectedly on camera? You would agree that the holiday season is often a time for joy and togetherness, especially for high-profile couples like George and Amal Clooney.
George and Amal Clooney are one stunning couple. The duo stepped out on Wednesday to attend the Ticket to Paradise premiere.
But recent reports suggest that their Christmas getaway in Saint-Tropez was anything but serene, with tensions and unexpected events unfolding under the public eye. Saint-Tropez, known for its picturesque landscapes and luxurious ambiance, seemed the perfect destination for the Clooneys to unwind during the festive season. The couple and their 7-year-old twins, Alexander and Ella, arrived with hopes of a peaceful retreat. But there was a twist. And guess what? Photographs captured during their stay revealed moments of visible tension between George and Amal, sparking widespread speculation about the state of their relationship. While the details remain private, sources indicate that the couple experienced a significant disagreement during their stay. Public sightings showed the pair engaging in what appeared to be heated discussions, with both displaying signs of distress. At first, Amal Clooney, renowned for her poise and composure, maintained a calm demeanor despite the apparent tension. She engaged with George in earnest conversation, suggesting a desire to address and resolve the issues. But George Clooney, typically known for his charismatic public persona, appeared visibly strained during the incidents. Reports suggest that professional commitments may have contributed to the tension. George is set to make his Broadway debut in March with the stage adaptation of Good Night and Good Luck, which would require him to spend significant time in New York City.
George Clooney's Broadway debut. Clooney co-wrote Good Night and Good Luck and stars as legendary CBS News anchor Edward R. Murrow.
This impending separation has reportedly been a contention, with concerns about managing a long-distance relationship and its impact on their family dynamics. Now, you may be wondering how the duo is dealing with the fact that this tension has been leaked. Undoubtedly, the couple is known for valuing their privacy, but they are now facing serious media scrutiny. So in response to the circulating rumors, a close friend mentioned that the twins will be starting at a new school in France later this year, and Amal wants little disruption to their routines right now, so there's no choice if George wants to do this play. They must deal with a long-distance relationship. But that's not the end, as Amal and her partner George have continued to captivate audiences with their dynamic relationship. But this time, it isn't as bad as you think. George Clooney turns photographer for Amal at a public event. In the glamorous world of Hollywood, where every gesture is magnified, George and Amal Clooney continue to captivate audiences with their professional achievements and authentic relationships. A recent event, the Albies, provided a heartwarming glimpse into their bond, leaving fans and media abuzz. At the Albies, an event dedicated to honoring courageous defenders of justice,
we decided to create an award show to put people who are in jeopardy of going to jail or being killed, and saying we're going to focus on them, we're going to make a big event around these people and try to make it harder.
George Clooney momentarily stepped away from the spotlight to capture his wife, Amal, through the camera lens. This spontaneous act of admiration showed the depth of their relationship, showcasing a side of George that fans rarely see. You may not know, but the Albies, established by the Clooney Foundation for Justice, aim to shine a protective spotlight on individuals and groups who, at great personal risk, have devoted their lives to fighting for justice. Named after anti-apartheid hero Justice Albie Sachs, the awards celebrate those who stand against oppression and advocate for human rights. The event attracts a constellation of celebrities and activists united in their commitment to global justice. So, during the event, amidst the flurry of flashing lights and red carpet poses, George Clooney borrowed a camera from a photographer to take shots of Amal. Dressed in a stunning black Versace gown, Amal radiated elegance. George's impromptu decision to photograph her added a personal touch to the evening. Amal's reaction to George's gesture was one of delight and affection. Caught off guard, she laughed warmly, her eyes reflecting appreciation for her husband's playful act. The exchange between them was natural and unposed, capturing the essence of their partnership, built on mutual respect, admiration, and a shared sense of humor. The media and public quickly picked up on this charming interaction. Social media platforms buzzed with admiration for the couple, with fans praising their authenticity and the evident love they share. The headlines called this moment proof of their strong relationship, and people who were there said you could feel how close they are. This only made them even more admired as one of Hollywood's favorite couples.
One of the reasons that you fell in love with Amal, because she's the same way?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of reasons. She's an amazing human being, and she's caring, and she also happens to be one of the smartest people I've ever met.
George's photograph of Amal undoubtedly symbolizes his admiration for her, not just as his wife, but as an accomplished individual in her own right. We already mentioned that Amal is a renowned human rights lawyer. George, an acclaimed actor and director, has seamlessly blended their personal and professional lives, supporting each other's endeavors and causes. Their collaboration on initiatives like the Albies shows their commitment to justice and humanitarian efforts. Their interactions also reveal a couple that doesn't take themselves too seriously. They find joy in spontaneous moments and embrace the simplicity of shared laughter. And talking about their collaboration, You would agree that Amal Clooney has long been celebrated for her dedication to justice and advocacy, but recent events have highlighted her challenges, particularly when public perception clashes with her private endeavors. What do you think these challenges are? Let's find out. Amal Clooney silences critics with secret humanitarian work. It is no news that Amal Clooney is not just a famous name tied to Hollywood. She's a world-class human rights lawyer dedicated to fighting for justice. Her work is not about the spotlight. It's about making real changes in the lives of people who have suffered unimaginable wrongs. Behind the glamour and high-profile events is a woman who has tirelessly worked for those who can't fight for themselves. Her humanitarian efforts are both inspiring and deeply impactful. One of Amal's most remarkable missions is her fight against human rights violations. From refugees forced to flee their homes to victims of war crimes, Amal has been a strong voice for justice. She has worked with survivors of ISIS violence, especially Yazidi women who were victims of slavery and abuse.
Together they are taking on ISIS, traveling the world taking the testimony of survivors, making their case against ISIS with world leaders.
Amal took their cases to the international stage, pushing for accountability for the crimes committed against them. Her courage and determination have brought global attention to these forgotten stories. As Amal also fiercely advocates for press freedom. She has represented journalists who were imprisoned or silenced for speaking the truth. For example, she defended 2 Reuters journalists in Myanmar who were jailed while covering a military crackdown. Her work was instrumental in securing their release. Amal's passion for protecting freedom of speech is clear. She believes the world cannot thrive without free, fearless journalists. Another key focus of Amal's work is prosecuting war criminals. She has been part of high-profile cases at the International Criminal Court, fighting for justice for victims of genocide and war atrocities. One of her notable efforts involved pursuing accountability for atrocities in Darfur. Amal's legal skills and determination have made her a powerful force in the fight against impunity. But what makes Amal's work even more remarkable is her humility. Many of her achievements happen quietly, away from the public eye. While social media often demands flashy gestures, Amal believes in the power of action over words, but that's not all. She doesn't seek attention for herself, she seeks results for the people she represents. But despite all these fears, Amal also faces challenges with her personal endeavors, and the recent one seems quite outstanding. So in the wake of escalating conflicts in Gaza, many public figures were vocal in their stances, either condemning the violence or advocating for peace. Amal Clooney, however, maintained a public silence during this period, which did not go unnoticed. Critics on apps like TikTok and Twitter accused her of being too busy or indifferent to the crisis, questioning her commitment to human rights. Such critiques were amplified by the very nature of social media, where immediate reactions are often expected, and silence can be misconstrued as apathy. But contrary to the assumptions of her critics, Amal was far from inactive. Behind the scenes, she was deeply involved in legal efforts to address the atrocities occurring in Gaza. Working discreetly, she assisted in preparing arrest warrants for leaders on both sides of the conflict, aiming to hold accountable those responsible for war crimes. This meticulous legal work required confidentiality to ensure effectiveness and protect the judicial process's integrity. The public's reaction was mixed when news of Amal's clandestine efforts emerged. Supporters felt vindicated, praising her commitment to justice and her ability to work tirelessly without seeking public recognition. On the other hand, critics were left to reconsider their earlier judgments. Some expressed regret for their hasty assumptions, acknowledging the complexities of activism and the importance of discretion in certain humanitarian efforts. But Amal Clooney's approach to activism is characterized by a preference for substantive action over public declarations. She believes that meaningful change often requires working away from the spotlight, allowing for strategic planning and execution without the pressures of public scrutiny. This philosophy shows her commitment to achieving tangible outcomes rather than seeking personal acclaim. Her decision to maintain privacy in her endeavors reflects a deep understanding of the delicate nature of legal work in conflict zones, where premature exposure can jeopardize the success of missions and the safety of those involved. Once Amal's involvement became public, Worldwide media covered the story extensively, with headlines drawing attention to her dedication and the irony of the earlier criticisms she faced. The coverage also led to more discussions about the role of public figures in activism and the often unseen efforts that greatly contribute to humanitarian outcomes. We've come to the end of this video. Join us as we explore Eugene Louis' unusual relationship with John Candy and the new revelation. The unexpected revelation. Anyone who knew John Candy in his lifetime would agree that the young man was incomplete without his friend, Eugene Levy. Their connection was more than just work and Hollywood. It was personal. In fact, countless times Eugene has affirmed that the loss of John has left a gap in his life, a gap so deep that no one else would ever be able to fill. Eugene believed that John passed away rather too soon.
Good evening. Some stories we're following. Tributes pour in for one of Canada's most famous entertainers. John Candy is dead at the age of 43.
But that's not even half of the gist. Eugene has just come out with a deeper and shocking revelation about John Candy. This revelation will definitely leave you on the edge of your seat, so brace yourself. Eugene shared that John Candy lived his life as a big-hearted guy. He had this natural way of being funny that seemed to just come out of him effortlessly. Whether on the Second City stage or in his unforgettable movie roles, he always stood out. Eugene believed that what made his friend special was how his real personality came through in everything he did. Everyone always noticed his charm, and it really stuck with anybody who came in contact with him. Even with his growing success, Eugene believes that there was always a shadow that haunted John from his childhood days. It was a sad shadow that never entirely left him, regardless of anywhere he was. By 1976, John had become a household name in Canada, especially in his role in comedy sitcoms. His characters like Johnny LaRue and William B. Williams made audiences laugh.
It's time for Cooking with LaRue, fast recipes for limited budgets with Chef Johnny LaRue.
Hi, I'm Johnny LaRue, as you already know.
Still behind the humor, there was a quiet sadness that never seemed to fade. John's humor was a gift, but it was also a shield, something to keep the world from seeing the heartache he still carried from losing his father so young. While Hollywood took notice of his talent in the late 70s, and John made his way into American films, at his core, he still missed his father and still carried that pain with him. Throughout the 80s, John became a familiar face in Hollywood, being one of the funniest and kindest actors in the business. Friends would say he was the life of the party, but there were moments when he would go quiet and lost in his thoughts. He was said to always wonder what his dad would have thought about his success if he were alive. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, his health was catching up with him. The same heart disease that took his father at 35 cast a dark cloud over John's own life. He had several risk factors for heart disease, including a family history of early heart problems. His dad had passed away from a heart attack way too young, and John could sense it was his time too.
John Candy had a history of binge eating and extreme dieting, but remained severely obese throughout most of his adult life. However, there are reports that there was another aspect of John's life that can also have a devastating effect on the heart.
To be fair, John Candy had a pretty good run in his career. In 1987, he made a big move in his career, teaming up with Steve Martin in the Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, a film written and directed by John Hughes. The film clicked with people, getting a lot of praise and raking in almost $50 million at the US box office. But yet again, underneath all the laughs, Eugene Levy believes that John felt the heavy expectations and stress that come with being successful and wasn't entirely over the moon with the excitement. While some of his friends would agree that some of his projects hit the mark, others like Eugene feel like his projects were a mixed bag. John Candy had flops like A Speed Zone and Uncle Buck in 1989. Those films were hits, but failed to do well in the box office comparatively with other films that year. In 1991, he was in Only the Lonely, a movie that got good reviews, but also fell flat at the box office. His stint in Nothing But Trouble went on the infamous flop list alongside Delirious and Once Upon a Crime, which added to his load. Despite the flops, and looking back on his career, he seemed to long for more chances. Sadly, unfinished projects haunted him. John was meant to play Ignatius J. Riley in a movie adaptation of The Confederacy of Dunces, but it never happened. It was almost like fate was cruel to him. He was a fantastic comedian, but maybe not so lucky. At one point, he was considered for a role in the remake of The Last Holiday, but that part went to Queen Latifah. There was also talk of him starring in a comedy with John Hughes and Sylvester Stallone called Bartholomew vs. Nee, but those plans faded too. Even in animated movies, they wrote roles for him in the Red Feather movie, the Turkey movie, and Pocahontas, but they all got cut after he passed. John's career was filled with joy and love, but the shadows of loss were always there.
People who are movie stars from different generations. The younger, of course, is John Candy, and Maureen O'Hara has made 56 motion pictures, including all-time classics like The Quiet Man and Miracle on 34th Street.
Amidst this storm, however, John Candy shared his life with his lovely wife, and they had 2 kids together, Christopher Michael and Jennifer Ann. He was a devoted Roman Catholic, finding comfort in his faith through life's ups and downs. Living in Brentwood, Los Angeles, he loved the sunshine and hanging out with friends, but more importantly, he loved Eugene Levy so much. The two of them shared so much bond, love, and even secrets that no one else knew about. You might wonder why these two were so close. The similarities in their backgrounds and upbringing will leave you shocked. The unusual connection of John and Eugene. Although they were born into different families and grew up in different localities, Eugene Levy and John Candy's lives mirror each other in a way that amazes one. Eugene Levy grew up in a modest Jewish family in downtown Hamilton, Ontario. His mom, Rebecca, was a homemaker, while his dad, Joseph, worked as a foreman at an auto plant. He had siblings, Fred and Barbara. His family background was poor, with his mom coming from Glasgow and his dad's safari roots returning to Spain and Bulgaria. Life wasn't always a walk in the park, but those experiences shaped him into the man he became. While at Westdale Secondary, Eugene was known not for his comedy skills, but for being a leader. He was the student council president. Later at McMaster University, he discovered his love for film, serving as vice president of the McMaster Film Board, a student film group. Just like his friend, John Candy, on the other hand, was born on October 31, 1950 in Toronto, but grew up in Newmarket, Ontario. His upbringing was modest, shaped by the working-class roots of his Catholic family. Life wasn't always easy, and it soon became even more difficult when John was just 5 years old. His father, Sidney, passed away from heart complications at the age of 35. The loss left a void that John would carry with him for the rest of his life. John's mother of Polish descent worked hard to raise him and his siblings. Their tiny home at 27 Woodville Avenue in East York held memories both sweet and painful, but it was a place where John's kind and gentle spirit began to form. He was a boy with big dreams, but life had its way of throwing hurdles. In high school, John excelled in football, dreaming of a career as a professional player. However, a knee injury crushed that dream. Those close to him have even testified to how John had always thought football was him, but sometimes life has other plans. After the injury, John's life took a different turn. He enrolled at Centennial College, planning to study journalism, but something inside him pulled him toward the arts. He found solace in acting, and soon it became his passion. He moved on to McMaster University, where he fully embraced his new path. In 1971, John landed a small role in a play called Creeps Film, a humble beginning that would spark a long and beloved career. He began appearing in small roles on Canadian TV shows and films, working hard for every part.
He's made you laugh, he's made you cry, and now he's making movies.
Background action.
Wait in place.
Hysterical, Rich.
Hold on.
Action.
His breakthrough came in 1972 when he joined the Second City Toronto's famous improv group. That's where people first started noticing his unique comedic talent. In that same year, miraculously, Eugene's big break also came when he landed a role in the Toronto version of Godspell. What was meant to be a short show turned into a huge hit, helping not just Eugene, but also stars like Victor Garber, Andrea Martin, Gilda Radner, and Martin Short. Kick-starting their careers that period was something special, buzzing with energy and hope, but also with a bit of uncertainty. Yet it was clear these two had something special, a talent that would develop over time. Eugene, on his part, later found himself at Second City in Toronto, where his humor flourished. The two finally met during an audition for a partnership with Christopher Guest on mockumentary Like a Mighty Wind. This show let the two shine in a new way and also grew the bond between them. Eugene's career took a surprising direction in his later years when he teamed up with his son John to create a TV show, Creek. Eugene and John infused warmth, humor, and depth into their characters, and it wasn't just comedy. It was a heartfelt story about family love and redemption, sharing the screen with their kids. The Dying Days. In March 1994, tragedy struck while filming The Wagons East in Durango City, Mexico. John Candy died in his sleep at just 43 years old. The news hit everyone hard. A spokesperson said it was a heart attack, but those who knew him realized that his struggles had been building up for years. John often turned to food when stressed. John Candy's life was celebrated as a fairy tale, but the reality behind the scenes was far more complicated. He faced several issues in a mental health facility, especially with the pressures of public life and a very troubled mind. John struggled with severe depression, and his self-esteem plummeted in an environment where he often felt isolated. This part, according to Eugene Levy, was where he came into the picture. He knew that John was going down the mental hole, and he felt the best he could do for a friend was to present him with a space of peace. That's not all. As John Candy's dying days began to knock more profusely, his friendship with Eugene Levy grew more and more, and eventually became a source of public interest. Sports was one thing the two friends loved. In 1991, they teamed up with Wayne Gretzky to own a piece of the Toronto Argonauts, a Canadian Football League team. They shook things up in the sports world, making headlines with bold moves like signing NFL star Raghib Ismail. They were always seen together with their families during games. Until today, their roles in Steven Spielberg's 1941 movie remain historic for anyone who knew the two friends. Their performance was the talk of the town, but more importantly, John's presence on screen caught people's attention. John Candy was the lovable, big-hearted guy on screen, the kind you couldn't help but root for. He had a way of making you laugh and feel simultaneously. In all of this, Eugene saw him as a friend, not a competitor. The encounter has left many Instagram users buzzing with excitement, with comments flooding in expressing awe and admiration for the fortunate fans. One user gushed about how lucky Aditya and his friends were to have met his favorite star, while another lamented that she has been waiting for years to meet him, but to no avail. All in all, the commenters were all thrilled to see their favorite star being so friendly with fans and couldn't wait for when it would be their turn. Actors and famous people alike have been rumored to always keep their fans at arm's length regardless of the situation. Some fans have been lucky enough to get an autograph or have the star walk into their picture frame at just the right time. But not many have had the kind of experience Aditya and his friends had when they met Tom Cruise in London. The actor's affection towards them has not only earned him more followers and admirers, but his fans have started to see him in a different light. Not as someone they didn't stand a chance with or someone inaccessible like other celebrities, but as someone they look forward to meeting either accidentally like Aditya or intentionally. But it seems like Aditya and his pals haven't been the only ones to have such a nice encounter with the famous Tom Cruise. Here's where things start to get interesting. In the glittering world of Hollywood, there are few stars as adored and sought after as the charismatic Tom Cruise. With a global fan base spanning continents, admirers often go to great lengths to glimpse their favorite celebrities. From globe-trotting to enduring long hours of waiting, these enthusiasts spare no effort to meet their idols in person.
Genuine fans, it would seem, cheering, screaming, waiting for hours just for a glimpse of Hollywood superstar Tom Cruise.
Getting a glimpse of these stars, or hopefully a picture, was a good enough reward for the lengthy hours of wait. However, at the highly anticipated premiere of Mission Impossible 7, one passionate woman had an unforgettable encounter with her lifelong crush, Tom Cruise. The star-studded event became the backdrop for a heartwarming moment that mesmerized both Cruise and the fans. The woman, at Grace_TRX, an Instagram user, took to Instagram to share a video of her speaking to Tom Cruise and expressing her admiration for him. In the video, she can be seen standing on the opposite side of the barricade at the red carpet of the premiere, waiting for her turn to meet the actor. What do you think about these private moments of Amal Clooney unexpectedly caught on camera? Please share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click on the following video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.